Hey everyone, welcome to Cheers to Progress podcast. I'm your host Zuzka, and I'm excited to start this podcast by sharing with you 6 important strategies for making faster progress and achieving your goals. And you can apply these strategies to any goal, any project, and any area of your life. But before we get started, if you're someone who has a very busy life, doesn't have time to go to the gym, and yet wants to get into a really good shape in the comfort of your own home, then you need to check out Z-Gym. Z-Gym is an online fitness club with over 1,300 follow-along video workouts from beginners all the way to advanced, more than 50 different workout series, at least 10 guided workout programs, mobility sessions, and more. The workouts in the Z-Gym are short but incredibly effective for burning fat and creating a strong and athletic body. Z-Gym can really deliver amazing results, but obviously it's all about staying consistent. So if you decide to show up for yourself and dedicate those 15 to 30 minutes a day to Z-Gym exercise, then I'm telling you that you will see a great progress in just a few months. So sign up for Z-Gym at zuzkalight.com. That's ZUZKALIGHT.com. And I will whoop you into shape. And now let's get to the topic of today's podcast. The first important strategy for making a progress is creating a clear plan. It's really hard to take actions if you're not even sure what exactly you're trying to accomplish and how. Too many people give up on their dreams before they even start, just because they never take the time to really think about and write down what would it take to achieve their goals. Think about how many times did you have an idea, maybe it was a business idea, and it didn't even make it on a piece of paper because you immediately decided that it would be just too hard, too much work, or completely impossible for you. But the reason why you should write down and really think about what would it take is because by going over the general steps, you might find out that your idea is completely doable. And it gives you clear direction so that at least you know where to start. And you don't need like a precise action plan with every little detail laid out, because with every new project and endeavor, it's kind of like walking in a complete darkness with a flashlight. You can only see just a few steps in front of you, and if you want to see further, then the only way is to take a few steps forward. You will never see the entire journey laid out perfectly in front of you because there will always be something that you didn't anticipate. But if you start with the bullet points for your plan, then you already have a much better idea of what actions will most likely need to be taken. So don't stress the details, but create a clear picture of the direction where you're heading. The second important strategy for making progress is to take actions as often as possible, ideally every day. And you don't have to spend hours every day to make a really good progress. It's way more about consistency. If you take small actions every day towards your goal, then first of all, you are connecting with your future every day. And that's very important from just an energetic point of view. If you want to manifest something, then you need to connect to it as often as possible. And the best way to connect to it is with your actions. There's an incredible TED Talk that I really recommend you to watch called How to Achieve Your Most Ambitious Goals. And it beautifully demonstrates the power of tiny daily actions. I've been taking this exact approach to fitness intuitively for the past 15 years, and that's the reason I've been able to stay in awesome shape for this entire time. It's very easy to stay consistent with something if you don't put the pressure of time on yourself. For example, if I really don't feel like doing a workout, I tell myself, okay, you don't have to do a full workout, but let's just do 5 minutes of something that will raise up your heart rate. You can do this. You'll be done in 5 minutes. And this simple self-talk and the fact that I acknowledge this tiny action as a victory over not doing anything at all, it just makes it worth my effort. Now, in some cases, you may not have the option to take actions towards your goal every single day. For example, I take my horseback riding lessons once to twice a week, and that's all I can do. But when I was putting this episode together, I realized that there is something that I can do every day to connect with my goal and make progress, even if I can't do anything physically. I am a trained hypnotherapist, so I know how powerful our mind is, and I know about the studies that show that people who rehearse in their mind, whether it's a physical exercise or playing an instrument, for example, these people make huge leaps in progress. So I started practicing horseback riding in my mind every day for at least a few minutes, and I can already notice a difference in my in-person sessions. It's very encouraging, and it keeps me focused on making progress in each in-person session, even if it's just a small progress. So think about what you can do to connect with your future and with your goal every day with your actions, no matter how small, and with your mind using visualization. Strategy number 3, focus on progress, not perfection. Perfectionism can be a huge roadblock to achieving your goals because it's a very daunting and never-ending quest for flawlessness. Now, there is nothing wrong with setting some standards for yourself or having an attention to detail, but it should come from a place of excitement and enjoyment. If you're nitpicking everything, trying to control every detail, and it's making you feel stressed, then that's where the perfectionism bites you in the butt. There's a difference between high achievers and perfectionists. Perfectionists will often fixate on imperfections, try to control situations, or be critical of themselves or others. Perfectionism is driven primarily by this self-imposed internal pressure that creates fear of failure and judgment from others. Because the underlying belief of a perfectionist is, I am not good enough. And it's all based around the fear of rejection, which comes from deep-rooted subconscious programming. Perfectionists often feel helpless against that belief, or they actually may not even realize that that's the belief that's driving them. But as a result of that, they try to control the world around them. This means living in constant resistance, and any resistance to your circumstances will naturally create suffering. And if you think about it, it's really hard to be creative, productive, and effective and making a good progress when you're constantly under so much pressure. And that's the difference between high achievers with high standards and perfectionists. High achievers are happy with progress, even if it's not perfect or even close to perfect. They are interested in improving situations, not to look for flaws. So what helps to relieve that pressure if you feel like you're suffering from perfectionism is to develop self-awareness and start noticing your inner dialogue and how it's making you feel instead of ignoring it or just pushing through it. I think in our Western culture, we're so used to ignoring or avoiding our feelings or just bulldozing through them and creating overwhelm and burnouts. But it doesn't have to be that way if we just become aware of how we feel. The moment you notice you have any stress or anxiety, just pause for a second and see where and how you're creating this feeling. What are you exactly focusing on? Because it's not the outside world that's putting the pressure on us and creating suffering. It's our own thoughts and what we choose to focus on. And it's not going to be easy to change these deep-rooted programs that have been created in our early childhood and reinforced over time. That's why it's so beneficial to engage in daily meditation or hypnotherapy, where you bypass the analytical conscious mind and go into the unconscious mind, where you can actually wire in new, empowering, and more helpful beliefs and patterns. We can introduce new thoughts and beliefs that will make us feel more peaceful, such as we're all flawed, Nobody's perfect, or perfection can never be fully achieved because nature won't allow it, or comparing myself to others is not helpful, or I intend to have fun and enjoy the process instead of creating unnecessary stress, or I will never be defined by the judgments of others, and the only opinion that really matters is my own. I'm choosing to accept myself exactly as I am. Strategy number 4, remember that progress is not linear. Focus on your actions and don't fixate so much on just the visible progress, because there is a big difference between perceived progress and actual progress. It's important to remember that if you're being consistent, then each time you take an action, you're making a progress, whether you can see it or not. People who get easily discouraged are those who think that progress should be perfectly linear. But that's just not how it works. Progress is never linear. It's not a perfectly straight line going upwards. It's always this jaggedy line going slowly upwards. And the times when the line drops down, those are your bad days, or the days when you don't see any visible changes, and they might even make you feel like you're regressing and taking 2 steps back. But these days are also an essential part of your progress. Without these days, there would be no progress because you just simply can't skip over them. This will require you to change your thoughts and your attitude and start focusing on your actions and consistency instead of immediate changes. And realize that each time you put effort into something, there will be progress, even if it's not noticeable right away, because that's just the nature of things. It's a simple shift in perspective that will actually help you enjoy the process of achieving your goals. It's the celebration of every little step that makes it more fulfilling. So you just have to accept the fact that the only way to get better at something is by taking consistent actions, and have faith that you are getting better each time you take that action, even if it feels like you're taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back, because that step back is oftentimes an important part of moving forward. And example from my own life is my horseback riding. I'm really good at general fitness. I'm quite athletic, but I'm not a natural cowgirl, and I've been taking lessons for about 1.5 years. And I'm still not at the level of being confident and feeling safe when I'm riding. There are times when I feel like I finally had a breakthrough and my body feels like it's in perfect sync with the horse and I have a great balance. But after a lesson like that, I can have 3 or 4 sessions when it feels like I have regressed. And at this point, I could let myself be completely frustrated, but I'm choosing to stay aware, and I'm accepting this process, including the bad days, as an important part of my overall progress. I believe that without those bad days, there wouldn't be any progress, and that it's all happening exactly how it's supposed to. So remember that each action that you take consistently inevitably equals progress. Strategy number 5, clean up your self-talk and install the cheerleader. One of the most important things that I have learned as an RTT therapist is how to be my own best friend and how to talk to myself in a way that encourages me and supports me. When things get tough, you need words of encouragement. You need someone to believe in you. And it does require a level of effort, awareness, and consistency, just like any other habit. But just like any other habit, it becomes easier and more automatic over time. And anyone who struggles with self-doubt and lack of self-esteem that's holding them back from achieving their goals is a victim of their own subconscious programming that runs automated, discouraging, and negative self-talk. Our childhood upbringing, beliefs, and experiences contribute greatly to this programming. But the good news is that thanks to metacognition and neuroplasticity, the mind's ability to be aware of itself and change, we can rewire our brain and code in new automated programs that will support us. So the first step is to become aware, because you can't change what you don't see and don't understand. You need to become aware and understand your patterns. The second step is to start changing the story, changing the narrative that you have about yourself, your abilities, and the world and your circumstances. The founder and creator of RTT therapy, Marissa Peer, who's one of the leading hypnotherapists in the world, uses a technique called installing the cheerleader. Basically, what you do is relax, close your eyes, and imagine you have someone that absolutely believes in you, someone who's proud of you, loves you, and gives you the praise that you've always wanted. This technique works best if you're in the state of hypnosis or in the state of complete relaxation. That's when your mind will let everything in. When your body starts to relax and releases the feel-good hormones, then healing can start to take place. Your imagination is incredibly powerful, and your subconscious mind and your body don't know what's real and what's imagined. You don't actually need another person to be praising you, to make you feel good and to boost your confidence. And even though it's always nice to have someone like that in your life that loves you and supports you, it's also important to understand that it's way more powerful if that person is you, because the most important words you'll ever hear are the words that you tell yourself. I personally spend 20 minutes a day listening to my hypnotherapy audio recording, and I also do my best to stay aware throughout the day about my negative feelings and self-talk and anything that might have triggered it. Then I interrupt the pattern, and I just start telling myself the things that I need to hear, as if I was talking to my best friend. What this will do for you is that it's going to make you less needy for attention and praise from other people, more self-assured because self-esteem comes from the self, and you'll start to notice that you're gaining more self-respect and confidence. Strategy number 6, practice discipline. This part will take a lot of effort, but only at the beginning before it becomes part of you. Discipline is just like any other skill that you need to practice to become really good at it. What helps a lot is to realize that reaching your goals in any area of your life, whether it's your career or your health and fitness, is not going to be easy or 100% enjoyable. You won't be always doing what you love when you're on the journey of achieving your goals. Even if you have your dream job or dream business, there will always be parts of it that are not enjoyable. And that's what discipline is all about. Being able to do the things that have to be done, even if you don't like doing them. I personally love what I do, but there are parts of my business that are not enjoyable for me. But I still have to take care of them, because if I didn't, I wouldn't be getting great results. And no one is so lucky to always do what they enjoy. Not one successful person in the world has been so lucky to do only the work that they 100% enjoy. But I can tell you that their attitude towards these things is what helps them get through it without suffering. There is an acceptance that needs to take place. It does not help keep telling yourself how much you hate doing certain things, especially if you know that there is no way around it, and that these things or tasks that you don't enjoy doing are also one of the key things to your success. Because you're creating the resistance that is making you feel miserable. It's not the boring or annoying task that drains your energy every time you have to do it. It's the resistance towards it, the buildup of resentment that makes it so hard to be disciplined. For example, I've always had the hardest time to wake up early in the morning, or what I would consider early. And what I realized after I went through some self-discovery via hypnotherapy, which uncovered the reason why I associated waking up early, and especially earlier than others, with negative feelings, I have this memory of being yelled at by my mom because I was up early in the morning watching TV and it woke her up, and she was so angry and frustrated. And I was just a little kid, maybe 5 or 6 years old. Small kids like that don't use logic, they just feel, and they don't judge or criticize their parents for how they're handling the situation either. Children of this age just love their parents and believe them completely. So I have uncovered a subconscious fear of waking up early before other people because my mind is still, after all these years, trying to protect me. Another very personal example of that is that when I have to go pee at night, I don't flush the toilet. I just feel so uncomfortable flushing the toilet at night because I was always yelled at as a child for doing that because it woke my mother up and she had a very light sleep and she would just get angry. So I have this behavior to this day. There's still, this crazy subconscious program in my mind that is trying to protect me from dealing with someone's anger. And being aware of it does help a lot. And I can look at that behavior and tell myself, you're not a child anymore. You don't live with your mother. Your husband doesn't care if you flush the toilet at night. But it just comes up as an uncomfortable feeling that I'm very much aware of. So it's just a story. This story I've created as a child about how much I don't like waking up early and how hard it is for me. And also how much I love sleeping in is just a story. And I am not my story. I can change my story anytime I want. And I didn't have to go as far as convince myself that I love waking up early, although that is something I would like to program into my brain eventually, and it will happen over time. But for now, what works great is that I dropped labeling waking up early as hard or dreadful. Because waking up early is not good or bad. It's just what it is. And the bottom line is, it's helping me to be more productive and make better progress in my projects. So stop labeling the things that you don't enjoy doing as dreadful or boring or annoying, and just tell yourself that it's just what it is. It's just a task. And also tell yourself that you're willing to do anything that needs to be done to make better and faster progress with good attitude. So I hope these tips were helpful. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast so that you don't miss any future episodes with more tips and advice from me and my guest experts. And cheers to progress.